Grasp real power. Real power is when you decide what you want to be when society doesn't give you any control at all. No control over anything. And you go ahead and do what you want. It's tough. It's not easy. It doesn't mean you're sarcastic or disrespectful or rude. It just means you look at the business systems and say, I don't think so. That's not me. You look at the religious doctrines and say, that's not how I see it. And the fact of the matter is, when you really get into it, you discover that everybody sees those doctrines a little differently. That's why they can be manipulated. What else did I write down here? Oh, yeah, career. Boy, that's a mess. You know, it is really a mess. Most people have 12 to 15 jobs by the time they're 24 years old. And you should do that, even more. Try them out. Quit. It feels good. Try it. Try it. Jump in, try it, give it all you got, and then let yourself go. And when a red flag goes up, pay attention, because they will. There'll be red flags. You'll try to ignore them, but there'll be red flags. There'll be somebody who tells you something different to do with your time card, or tells you to leave early, or be lazier, or not be so. Oh, I used to get that all the time. Why do you try so hard? I don't know why you try so hard. Well, because I live outside the box. That's why. It's tough. I'm not telling you it's easy, but it's you. You get to choose. If you just crawl in the corner, that's where you'll stay. I just watched Dirty Dancing, and he said, you don't put baby in the corner. He grabbed her up and took her up on the stage, and everybody who's seen that movie will never forget that dance. There's another one like that. Real timid gal, too. The Son of a Woman. When Al Pacino said, and he apparently he had on contacts that you couldn't see through, because he played the part fabulously of a blind person. But when he asked her to tango, oh boy. And she did it. She did. She went outside the box. She turned the box upside down and read it and looked at it and said, he's offering to teach me how to tango. And he said, nothing in life is like the tango. Life is hard. When you get to tango, you make a mistake, you just tango on. And that's a better way to look at life. If you think about it, it really is. Why do you have to follow systems and rules that make no sense? It's one reason why so many of us are having so much trouble with this, the administration right now, because we just can't accept what we're seeing. We just can't accept the decisions that are being made. Gosh, do you know how many wars I've seen? I was born right after World War II. Then my father went to Korea. He got back from that, and then we lived 10 years with Vietnam. Gulf War. There have been so many wars. Why? What have they gotten us? What have they gotten you? What did they get your family? What good did they do for you? That's really what you have to ask yourself. I know for myself, I really considered a lot of things. I really did. I wasn't trying to be ornery. I was born into a very dysfunctional family who didn't want a girl. And my first word was button. My mother never would forgive me that I didn't say mommy, because daddy was always gone in the military. But I said button because she always had buttons, and button's a cool word. You know, button, button, button. She said I'd be in my stroller and I'd say button and wave at people. Button. You see what I mean? Gets your attention. You expect somebody to say mommy or daddy, but I didn't say that. I said button. And every boy that came along, I did everything I could to beat him. I was a hell of an arm wrestler. I even did leg wrestling. I did everything I could to prove to my mother that there wasn't anything wrong with having a girl. She wouldn't listen to me. She still wanted boys. So when I was raped, I had a boy. I gave him to her. No, actually, she stole him from me. It was pretty awful. But she learned real soon. She gave him back at 5, and almost 6, which was a mess because by then it's too late. You know, that's something you got to think about. If you have a child and you have to put them in daycare, boy, you got a heavy job ahead of you because the first 5 years, that's what the Catholic Church figured out. If you get them till you're 5, you got them for life. So think about it. Think about it real hard. Don't have that baby unless you're going to be with it. And the first 3 years, 90% of their brain is developed. If you don't feed them well, not going to make any difference. They're never going to be right. Tough decisions, really tough decisions, hard questions in life. But this question is about your power. How can you decide what you want for you and not go along with the rest of everybody? You control your responses. You can control your responses, how you meet them. Somebody fires you, you can be a real horse's ass and just cuss them out or tell them all the things they did wrong or whatever. Say, well, you don't have to be sarcastic about it, but you can say, well, there must be something better for me down the road, and turn around and walk out with your dignity. If you know that you're being fired for something that was out of your control, then do that. Say, well, there must be something else down the road for me. And believe it. Don't just say it. You have to believe it. It's like jumping out of an airplane. I never did that. I always was a pilot or the flight instructor. I never jumped out of an airplane. Perfectly good airplane with wings, that just doesn't make any sense. But some people do that. I did water ski. That was one of the things I wondered about. I didn't like the idea that somebody else was directing the boat, so I had to be sure it was somebody I felt I could really trust. But those things are hard. Those decisions are tough because when you're counting on somebody else, you know, what is really difficult is to count on yourself. When you know you've made the wrong decision, don't be afraid to say it. Don't hesitate to say it. You don't have to say it to everybody else, but you certainly have to say it to yourself. I made a wrong decision. I need to get out of this situation. I need to move on. And there's a lot of times in life when there doesn't look to be one solid answer anywhere. None. And yet, I'm here. I made it. Supposed to be gone by the time I was 35 because of childhood illnesses. I'm still here. They said I might make it till 50. Well, I'm 79. And I always looked on the other side of the box. I always did. It was funny because not long ago I was with the head of the church that I respect, the faith that I follow, which is earth-centered faith. I believe that our earth is our God. I believe that our earth is the gift we've been given, the gift of life, the gift of air and water, and all those things we need. Well, there's a lot of air going on around here right now today. We get all that. And yet, we've ignored it and treated it terribly. I mean, people build these beautiful big synagogues, churches, temples, mosques. Gorgeous. And they have all this silver and gold and marble and whatever inside that's just spectacular. The clergy wears phenomenally nice robes and tapestries and fancy candles and goblets and candlesticks. And what do we do to our earth? No, real power is knowing that since 1962, I have tried my damnedest to get people to pay attention to the earth. And I'm going to keep doing it till the day I die. I've decided that. That's why I've decided to get on YouTube. Dr. Guy McPherson had told me about 12, 15 years ago that 2026 was going to be the end of the world. There would be no mammals alive because of the predictions that other people had, not him, other people had having to do with melting ice caps, among other things. There were a lot of different things going on. But that was his prediction. Okay, so when 2026 hit, I went, my birthday's in January, so it kind of, pow, hit me. And I went, I'm still here. There must be a reason I'm still here. And all I could think of is nobody's paying any attention to the earth now. Well, some people are, but no powerful, wealthy people are paying any attention to the earth. The powerful, wealthy people are building underground cupboards and cabins and tents and I don't know what all they're doing. They're going to hide from climate change instead of doing something about it. It's crazy. But none of the real powerful leaders are saying, hey, we got to do something about this. This sucks. So we're going to get hurt. I mean, we've ignored our earth and we're going to pay for it. It's really too bad, but that's the point. And anything you fear or you ignore goes badly. Try ignoring your spouse and see what happens, huh? You know what I mean. Or treating them bad or harming them or whatever. What about your values? Yeah. I value looking at the clouds. I value looking at the earth. I value truth. I really value truth. And I think that one of the reasons that politicians don't value truth is it's like a club they join, and they can't, they get in this little tiny system like the other systems, like the career system, the religious system and all that. They just can't get out. Well, they can get out, they can quit and they can lose their job, but they get in because they really want to have they want to change things and they want to make a good living. And so they do. And then it gets easier and easier to make a good living if you vote for that or don't vote for this or push that and don't push this and push something else. And it's what you pay attention to. I pay attention to my dog. I have a dog right here. Maybe you didn't see his tail. His tail was working there a minute ago. I pay attention to my dog because he reminds me that I'm only going to have him for a few years. In my age. At my age, 10 years is just gone. And most dogs don't live to 20. Some cats do, but dogs don't. So I look in his eyes and I say, what do you have to teach me now, right this minute? And if you pay attention, there's a whole bunch of things. You can watch a ladybug and learn things. You can watch a butterfly, bird, a deer, a giraffe. Oh, gosh, I love giraffes. I used to go to the zoo and watch them because I used to do art projects about giraffes because I wanted to have a pet giraffe so badly. That would have meant that I'd have to have a huge piece of land in a temperate climate with bark. They eat barks off trees, so I have to have a lot of trees. I just thought it'd be a great idea. All I have to say is I want a pet giraffe. But, I didn't take myself totally seriously, and that's why I did other things. I learned to fly. Yep, I learned to be a flight instructor. I flew from Florida to Alaska and back. When I got an opportunity, I just did it. I swam 10 miles when I was real young. I wanted to swim the English Channel till I found out it was cold. See, we have to make decisions. One of my values is not being cold. That's a strong one. That's a core value. Don't get cold. And don't let other people put you in the position where you have to be cold. Okay, now there you go. That's a good example. If somebody else if you're in the military and somebody's controlling where you go, you're bound to get. My dad used to have to go up to Newfoundland for 3 months at a time. It's cold up there. I made the decision. I wanted to be a JAG lawyer so I could be in a nice warm space somewhere and take care of the service people. Because I have so much respect for the military, that's not it. I just don't want the military telling me they could send me someplace cold. That's a matter of making your own decision, having real power. It's true. One of the best books I ever read had to do with the difference between power and control. Somebody can do their best to control you, but you have your own power, and you've really got to look at that. You can't just blow it off as, oh, that crazy old lady's talking to me on YouTube just because she's old. She thinks she knows everything. She's going to babble away. No, it's because I've seen so much. I've heard so much. I've watched people. I'll never forget. There was a little boy named Angel. He was about 3 or 4. I've got some pictures of him in the book. I wrote a book. I've actually written 11 books, but one of them won 4 awards, and that was the book. Empowering Spanish Speakers was the name of it. The young man, he's about 3 or 4, put him up on a horse, and I put toys up in the trees so the kids would have to hold on with one hand and reach with the other hand for the toys. It's good for him. Made him tough. But this kid was already tough because in the eyes of his mother, he could have been the president of Mexico. I mean, she had so much confidence in that child. He had Down syndrome. I mean, he really had Down syndrome, but you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it to watch him. You wouldn't know it. I mean, they have a certain look about them. Of course, when you've been educated to know that, you'd know that was going on, but not the way he acted, not the way his mother acted towards him. He had power. Couldn't control a lot of things. He was only 3 years old. I could pick him up, put him on the horse. Of course, he could have had a fit and not sat there, but he didn't. He was tough. Boy, he was tough. I'd throw a ball, and he'd catch it with both hands and hold on to the horse with his legs. Gosh, he was just great. Yeah, we didn't use braces. We didn't use mechanical things on the kids. Not in Mexico. It was great. Yeah. Outside the rules, that's what I like. I once had a lot of trouble with planning and zoning. That was in Palm Bay, Florida. And they put me through hell. They really did. Because I wanted to pray in the backyard, and they just couldn't see any reason for that. I mean, it was okay for the guy down the road who was a Mormon, but I couldn't do that. This was really crazy. Anyway, I stood up against him. He had the control of the planning and zoning, but he didn't have my power. I stood up. Some guy in California, I was in Florida, he stood up against and at the end, the man who was against me lost his job because it was crazy. I mean, what's wrong with praying in your backyard? I mean, why can't you do that? Why can't you go out in your backyard and sing a song with a few of your friends, reach up towards the sky, honoring the full moon, whatever it was? What's wrong with that? There's all kinds of faiths that have outdoor activities. Why was my... So I kept my power. And I used to average about one a week, 3 or 4 phone calls a week with somebody threatening to kill me. They didn't kill me. I wasn't stupid. I didn't go out and sit on the front porch at night and wait for them to come along and kill me. And I didn't hire a Secret Service or something like that to protect me. I didn't even have an alarm in the house. No, it was just being sure of myself, knowing who I was, what values I was going to hold dear, what power I was going to hold on to. You got to do it. Or you just got to become a Mr. Marshmallow or Mrs. Marshmallow or Mrs. Milk Toast. That's what my mother used to say. Mother hated it that I had power. She hated it from the time I was a little infant in the stroller saying button. And that's okay. That's okay. Because she didn't want a girl anyway, so it was okay. I had to make that decision. I could be bitter. I could be harsh. I'm not. I feel sorry for other folks that have gone through the same thing, and all I ever do for them is try to get them to get as strong as they can possibly get. I do everything in my power to encourage them to go forward. Excuse me. And to be real. You don't see my videos being chopped up, prettied up. You don't see me in makeup, earrings, fancy clothes. I've got my bibbies. I love my bibbies. This is who I am. It's who you can be. If you make that decision, it's not easy. I'm not telling you that. There's a lot of things that aren't easy. Lots of things. Like living outside of a conventional 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a huge mortgage. That's not acceptable. Living off the power grid, using dry composting toilets, having solar, believing that you can make a difference in what's going on with the earth. That's not acceptable. Going to the planning and zoning office and asking them exactly what you can do. And they tried to tell me in Florida that I couldn't plant trees. I had to have permission for every tree I planted on a 1-acre lot. Now, an acre is pretty big. And they wanted me to have permission to plant trees. Well, I wasn't sure what I wanted to plant. I mean, you don't have to design it all at once. Mother Earth doesn't. Pachi Mama, she doesn't. She plants things all over. I wanted to do the same thing. So I filed a license as a tree farmer. It was a rural area. It was an acre lot. There's no reason why I couldn't. It didn't cost me anything to just register as a tree farm. But it gave me something. I got to plant all the trees I wanted because it was a tree farm. Think outside the box. Turn the box over and look at it and take your power. Don't let somebody take it from you. It's not worth it. Life is way too short. If you got a question, right down here. Ask me. I'll answer it. And while you're down there, please look at my nonprofit. We've been doing good works for folks for about 34 years. And 2 of us are artists, and we've made things to remind you to take care of the earth. Maybe you'll find something you like. Thank you.